Here are 5 reasons to support the annual Catholic Appeal. 1. Emergency assistance to those in need. 2. Inspiring young people to grow in their faith. 3. Keeping our homebound connected in the faith. 4. Crisis help for young families. And 5. Catholic education, forming our future leaders in mind and heart. We are sowing the seeds of God's love with your contribution. Please donate today online at diospringfield.org.
Coming up on this edition of Real to Real.
We'll hear from Father Dan Pakalik, the new Diocesan Director of Pro-Life Activities. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have that story coming up.
I'm Steve Kiltonic in Holyoke. I'll have the story of Providence Ministries, which celebrated 40 years of service to the needy.
And we'll take you to the groundbreaking for the new Newman Catholic Center at UMass Amherst. These stories are coming your way next on Real to Real. Hello and welcome again to Real to Real. After years of deliberating and negotiating its future, construction has officially begun on the new Newman Catholic Center at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. Groundbreaking ceremonies were held earlier this past Wednesday to celebrate the building of the new center. Springfield Bishop William Byrne was the celebrant for the special Mass marking the beginning of the one-year building period for the new Newman Catholic Center. Several priests who have served at the center and some who graduated from the university concelebrated the liturgy. The Newman Catholic Center has been located in the heart of the UMass campus in a 58,000 square foot facility constructed in 1963. It's provided opportunities for students of the university and the 5-college consortium to worship, study, gather, and socialize. Following the Mass, a procession crossed North Pleasant Street to Thatcher Road for a prayer service and groundbreaking on the future site of the new center. Newman Center Director Father Gary Daly told supporters gathered that he, like Thomas the Apostle, would not believe it until he saw it.
I'm calling this my Thomas moment because when this all began about 8 years ago, my constant mantra was, I will not believe until I see the shovel in the ground. And so I joined St. Thomas today in the declaration of faith, my Lord and my God.
Bishop Byrne blessed and anointed the land with prayers for all for a safe construction process.
May this chapel, which is built to the honor of Our Lady's Seat of Wisdom, give glory to you, O God, and may it always be a place of quiet reflection, prayer, and worship.
And then the bishop was the first to officially break ground for the 19,000 square foot building.
There we go. Okay.
Committee members then donned hard hats and shovels, signaling the beginning of the $9 million center that will include a chapel, research area with private study rooms, lounges, the Newman Cafe, administrative offices, a conference room, outdoor gathering, and dining spaces and gardens. Bishop Byrne calling the event an historic moment for the Diocese of Springfield and an investment in the future of the church.
These young people, though, aren't our future, they're our present. And we have to make sure that we're giving them all the tools to build friendships with each other, with our Lord, and to be great Catholics and leading our world.
Places like the Newman Catholic Center are seedbeds for great vocations, said the bishop. And this was true for Father David O'Fierro, pastor of Holy Name Parish in Springfield, a 2007 graduate of the university.
Yeah, Father Gary calls this a home away from home. I think that at UMass, it's such a big place, and you have to find your niche. And the Newman Center certainly has helped me do that, and a number of students, and an amazing amount of students that have went through Newman Center have found sort of their niche, and they found, you know, more than just a safe space. This is where God is.
Father Daly said in just 2 weeks the parking lot will be excavated and construction will begin. And 1 year from now, he looks forward to the bishop returning to bless and dedicate the new building. Of course, we will be following the construction process and we'll keep you posted on the progress. Well, back in March, Bishop Byrne named Father Dan Pacolic the new diocesan director of pro-life activities. Father Pacolic is the pastor of Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament Parish in Westfield. Carolee McGrath spoke to him about his new role and why we all need to pray for the protection of all life.
Father Dan Pacolic, the pastor of Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament in Westfield, grabs donations of diapers and blankets from the parish office so he can bring them to Bethlehem House, a pro-life crisis pregnancy center in East Hampton. The parish has for years supported many pro-life efforts, and now Father Dan, as he prefers to be called, will be leading even more for the entire diocese.
I think all of our priests feel a strong desire to support pro-life issues, and we all do what we can in our own parishes, but to be able to do it on a larger scale is certainly an honor.
Bishop Byrne named Father Dan the director of pro-life activities for the diocese back in March.
I think it's so important as our culture with the Roe bill coming to attack life and whittle away at any protection of human life, and then physician-assisted suicide. There are crucial issues that we're facing here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and we need a wise and unifying voice, and that's why Father Dan is such a great choice. He's an effective pastor, he has a heart for the ministry, and he's got the gifts to help us lead us.
Father Dan, who helped organize holy hours and a rally at the State House in 2019, was instrumental in leading efforts to oppose the Roe Act, which passed the legislature in December. The law permits abortion through 9 months of pregnancy for certain circumstances and lowers the age of parental consent to 16.
2 years ago, we had a holy hour, a pro-life holy hour, because the state of New York had just passed the law of full-term abortion being legal, and I remember being just so shocked by that. It was the shock of the beginning of what now is happening in more states around the country. But I felt that we need to start praying here, not realizing that it would soon come to our state too.
Lord, we thank you for giving your life for our sake. Lord,
Father Dan, who recently joined Bishop Byrne and others to pray in front of Planned Parenthood during the 40 Days for Life and for the Good Friday Vigil, says he's excited to be working with the Pro-Life Commission, volunteers who have been leading pro-life efforts in the diocese. The group recently met with the bishop.
The bishop very graciously wanted to meet with the commission, people who have been working, Tim Biggins, who is the chair of the commission, and the rest of the group who have been working over the years on this issue, but I think Bishop has a tremendous interest in this area, so he wanted to let us know what his vision is for it and how much we can count on his support in all our efforts.
And among the efforts that he says are so critical are the ministries that offer practical and spiritual help to women facing a crisis pregnancy. From Bethlehem House in East Hampton to Clearway Clinic in Springfield, New Direction in North Adams, and Alternatives in Greenfield. He also spoke of the importance of ministries to assist women and men who have experienced the pain and trauma from a past abortion.
I think if we can show people what the church stands for in terms of supporting life from conception to natural death, then we won't be the church of, as they say, the church of no. We'll be the church of this is what we can do, this is what we want to do, and I think that will help to change hearts.
Father Dan says he's hoping to unify all Catholics on this issue of life and let people know that this is not about politics. It's not about being on the left or on the right, but it's really about human rights and about the teachings of our Lord Jesus.
What political parties do in terms of adopting certain areas, it's not so much about that. It's that this is an area of concern, I think, for all people, for a society that wants to make sure that we never dispose of any human life, again, from beginning to the end.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Andy says prayer and witness will help people understand what's at stake and move people to stand together in love. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
Father Pekalik says another issue of concern is physician-assisted suicide, which is again before lawmakers in Massachusetts. And on the eve of the Feast of Corpus Christi, Father Pekalik will be having a holy hour for life. That's Saturday, June 5th at 7 p.m. at Blessed Sacrament Parish in Westfield. And we wish Father Dan well in this new important endeavor. In other pro-life news, this past week, the U.S. Supreme Court agreed to hear a major abortion restriction case in the next term. That decision is still a year away, but is seen as a hopeful sign by the pro-life community. There's still more ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel.
I'm Nick Morganelli on the campus of UMass Amherst. We'll talk with Father Gary Daly at the Newman Center on the men's hockey team's national championship.
And Steve Kiltonic highlights Providence Ministries' 40 years of service to the needy in Holyoke. These stories are still ahead on Reel to Reel.
Like Catholic TV on Facebook. Once you're there, you can join in on discussions, make friends with other Catholic TV fans, watch behind-the-scenes videos from the studio,
just finished this today,
and stay up to date with the Catholic world. All this at facebook.com/CatholicTV.
Hi, Mom. What are you doing today?
Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence, an ideal rental setting for retirees to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We have bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, and wellness and entertainment programs. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Mom, call me when you're not so busy.
In news from the diocese, following the lead of Governor Charlie Baker, Bishop Byrne has announced that mask mandates and social distancing guidelines will end May 29th. Those attending Mass who have been vaccinated for COVID-19 will no longer be required to wear masks. In a Thursday communication from the Vicar General's office, parishes were also told they no longer had to disinfect churches after every Mass and also could resume all social and fundraising activities. The communication announced that for the time being, the dispensation to the obligation to attend Mass would continue, but would eventually be lifted in coordination with the other dioceses in Massachusetts. Read more at iobserve.org. God will hear the cry of the poor if we, their brothers and sisters, hear that cry. Words spoken by Sister of Providence, Margaret Macquarie, when she founded Providence Ministries for the Needy more than 4 decades ago. Offering food, shelter, and clothing to the poor and homeless, the agency, supported in part by funding from the annual Catholic Appeal, has served as a model for many social service agencies that followed in Holyoke and across New England. Steve Kiltonic sat down with Sister Macquarie, highlighting the agency's 40 years of service to the community.
It was started by a woman with a vision to feed the hungry and clothe the homeless of Holyoke at a time when virtually no one was paying attention. It was Sister Margaret Macquarie, a Sister of Providence, who felt compelled to act. Her vision became reality when she founded Providence Ministries for the Needy. The first program offered by Providence Ministries was at Kate's Kitchen here in 1980. A year later, Laredo House opened, and a few years after that, Broderick House. Over the past 4 decades, Providence Ministries has been nourishing hope and rebuilding lives for thousands of individuals and families, thanks in part to funds provided by the annual Catholic Appeal. Sister Macquarie credits 2 courageous women of faith for inspiring her to start a community kitchen in Holyoke. In the 1970s, Sister Annette Rafferty, a Sister of St. Joseph, opened the Abbey House in Worcester for women, and Sister Peter, a Sister of Providence, the Loaves and Fishes Soup Kitchen in Springfield.
At the same time, the Sisters of Providence then said in our statements that We will stand in compassion and love with the poor and with all who suffer, and we will give priority in our ministries to the poor. Well, those words really grabbed my heart. I thought if there's hungry and homeless people there, there's hungry and homeless people in Holyoke.
Kate's Kitchen, named after the founders of the Sisters of Providence, Catherine Horan, was established in one of Holyoke's poorest neighborhoods. In the early years, Sister Macquarie listened to the voices of those suffering.
We would hear of women sleeping in cars with their babies, children sleeping on their apartment floors with sheets as blankets, men dying under the bridges.
Providence Ministries' initial programs addressed the needs of those who were forgotten.
We opened a round-the-clock shelter for women and children so they wouldn't be sleeping in cars or in abandoned buildings. We accepted when we opened the shelter for men. We were the only shelter that would accept people, men with AIDS. We'd take care of them. If they died, we'd bury them.
At the Broderick House, wakes were provided for over 100 people because families couldn't afford a funeral director.
Human beings are suffering, and when human beings suffer, regardless of the reason, we don't stand in judgment, we act. We don't talk the talk.
While the buildings have remained the same over the years, the programs have evolved to address the particular needs of the day. Jenny Adamczyk is the executive director of Providence Ministries. She said the ministries can be broken down into either life-sustaining, like Kate's Kitchen, or life-changing, like the Loretto House. Kate's Kitchen is open 365 days a year and serves warm, nutritious meals, no questions asked. Along with staff members, a dedicated core of volunteers make the meals and help in the day-to-day needs of the kitchen. Although COVID-19 has put a halt to serving people inside, Kate's has remained open with to-go meals being delivered through the kitchen door at noon. In 2019, over 70,000 meals were served to people from the neighborhood. Margaret's Pantry and St. Jude's Clothing Center are the other life-sustaining programs. Brenda LaMagdalene is the manager of both ministries. The pantry offers food to qualified Holyoke and other Western Mass residents once a month.
They can come here and they get approximately like 75 pounds per person, so a family of 4 can get over 300 pounds of food, plus all the extras in the meat, and dairy and fruits and vegetables.
When the pandemic hit, food donations from churches and individuals stopped. But the Western Mass Food Bank stepped in to fill the tremendous need. In 2020, over 1.8 million pounds of food was given out.
We're serving more clients than we have ever served in the 16 years I've been here. We've been over 2,000 clients for quite a few months since this pandemic has happened.
St. Jude's offers quality clothing, furniture, and small household items for those in need. Providence Ministries also assists victims of fires, helping families to get back on their feet during a difficult time when oftentimes everything has been lost.
It's been really heartwarming to see everybody pull together, even though they're having difficulties in their life too. So it's really nice.
In addition, Food Works at Kate's Kitchen is a 12-week program that offers unemployed and underemployed individuals job training in the culinary field. Food Works recently opened for its first classes after being closed the past year. The life-changing programs are named after Sisters of Providence Agnes Broderick and Mother Mary Laredo.
We have 3 sober living houses which operate on a step program. So Laredo House is kind of your stage 1, where people are coming in from detox, from prison, from other programs for recovery, and they come to us for a soft place to land, to get on their feet, so that we can help them progress to the next stage, which would be going to Broderick House, which is similar to Laredo but with a little less restriction and a little more independence.
The last step in the sober housing program is Macquarie Manor, which sits on a hill overlooking the former Providence Behavioral Hospital in Holyoke. Renovated and opened in 2015, it is a single-room occupancy residence and is the latest program under the Providence Ministry umbrella. The house features shared living spaces, including fully equipped kitchens and bathrooms. George Karen is one of the 24 residents at Laredo House.
I almost feel like I'm part of a family here, and the level of compassion these people give me is unbelievable. They care for me sometimes when it seems like I don't care for myself, and I'm blessed to be here, and I can't thank Providence Ministries enough, and Jenny and her staff in particular. If you're willing to make changes and do work, I mean, you can change your life here for sure, you know.
Realizing that the food pantry hours aren't convenient for everyone who works full-time but still needs help, a new program was unveiled last weekend at Holyoke High School.
And we don't ever want to be a stumbling block to somebody who needs help. So now we can offer them a Saturday alternative where you can come once a month and get a box of food for your family. So that's something that we're really excited about.
Providence Ministries has partnered with the City of Holyoke and the Food Bank of Western Mass to distribute non-perishable, then perishable food with the addition of a refrigeration truck in the upcoming months. As COVID restrictions loosen up, Adamczyk is hopeful that they will have fun events and fundraising again soon. She's optimistic about the future of Providence Ministries.
I think that when you are doing things for the right reason and the right motive and to help the people who need it the most, that you're unstoppable. And I think that when you're doing it all and you're not just doing it for the people in your community, but you're doing it for the glory of God, that you can't go wrong.
It would be wonderful we close its doors because everybody's needs are met, but that's not going to happen. I hope there will be people who will really continue to be deeply supportive of this ministry. And if they are, we will go forward.
With the support of the community, volunteers, the diocese, and the Sisters of Providence, Providence Ministries for the Needy will continue nourishing hope and rebuilding lives for many more years to come. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
Providence Ministries' new food distribution program will be offered on the fourth Saturday of every month from 12:30 to 2 through December. To find the distribution sites, periodically check the Providence Ministries Facebook page where the locations will be posted. We have a link at iobserve.org. And finally today, 2 years ago, the UMass men's hockey team made it to the NCAA championship and came up short. This year, the Division I team claimed victory. Nick Morganelli spoke with Coach Greg Carville and Father Gary Daly on the team's win during a recent visit to the Newman Catholic Center.
Watch out! UMass are national champions!
It was an epic season for the UMass Minutemen as they won their first NCAA hockey championship for the university.
Huge accomplishment, and really the finalization of a vision that we had 5 years ago when we started.
The team had a losing record back then, but head coach Greg Carville and his staff invested in talented players and created a mindset for success.
The wins are byproducts of our process, and every single day we push the kids hard. And if you don't have the right kids, you can't do that, and we have them. We have the highest GPA of any team on campus. We do more community service than any team on campus. We do everything to what we call a gold standard. That's the mindset that you have to continually get better. It's not easy.
He's a great coach. He's very, very intense and demands excellence at every single level, on and off the ice. To be a successful team, that's the kind of leadership you need.
We've been blessed with two outstanding goalies for 3 years. They're 1 year apart. Matt was senior this year.
Matt Murray, who led the team to the 2019 championship and is tied for shutouts with starting goalie File Lindberg, was needed to tend net in the season's semifinals game. Newman Center Director Father Gary Daly, a huge UMass hockey fan, reacted to that long late-night game.
I felt that the really national championship happened on Thursday night. They dominated the entire overtime period, and I said, man, if they don't score a goal, it's going to be really disappointing because they really played their heart out here. And that goal went in the net, and it was just amazing.
Matt, who had not started a game since January, middle of January, stepped in and he played outstandingly.
After watching how well the team played in that game defeating the Bulldogs, who they lost to in the championship in 2019, Father Daly had a pretty good prediction about this year's championship.
And I said at the very beginning of the game to the students over here, I go, I think this is going to be a blowout. And sure enough, it was, it was a great game.
And here comes a breakaway to make it 1-0. Bollinger shot, score!
The team's physician was also thinking positively.
And I told Coach Carville that I had a vision, and I think I had a superstition. He was like, don't tell me your vision. Well, my vision was us winning the national championship and me getting to be on the ice with the kids and holding up the national championship trophy on the ice. And my vision came true.
With the win being imminent, Coach Carville took a moment during a TV timeout to speak with the players.
Because we'll never, ever all be in the same room again. And that's true. 2 kids signed right away and they're gone. And but more than anything, I wanted to thank them. They'd earned this. We'd pushed them, but they'd earned it. And I felt gratitude at that moment. And I just really needed to thank them and do it in a really unique situation that they'll always remember.
It's certainly a thrill and a blessing to be holding this trophy, but it's nothing compared to the feelings that Matt Murray has for getting the W in the Frozen Four game.
It was a dream come true. I mean, I'm smiling right now, and I had an even bigger smile back then.
Murray, who frequents the Catholic Newman Center at UMass, attended the 7 p.m. Sunday service earlier this month when Father Daly recognized the seniors.
Matt Murray's involvement here at Newman has grown over the years. As he matured on the team and became a leader on the team, he was instrumental in inviting his teammates to come to Newman for Mass. So it's nothing on Sunday night at 7 to see 5 to 7 hockey players all sitting in the same row together for Mass. Kind of one of my goals here at Newman is to really work with the athletes to kind of get them excited about coming to Newman, coming to Mass, and to recognizing that their gift on the field, their gift on the ice, whatever their sport is, that's a gift from God. And that's what I tell them, and that they really need to give all the glory to God.
I love being here. It's such a great place. I guess, like I said earlier, it's really like a second home to me. We all get an extra year of eligibility from the NCAA, so I'm planning right now to come back here for another year and start my master's program as well next year.
We'll see you in that next year?
Yeah.
And as for this season, the team had their moment of joy.
Best one moment. It's why they play. Congratulations, UMass. You are college hockey's national champion.
And so did Father Daly.
Just one thing I always wanted to do.
Celebrating victory at the Newman Center on UMass campus, I'm Nick Morganelli.
An exciting time on the UMass campus for sure. Let's hope the team repeats next year. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. Thanks so much for watching. And before we go, if you haven't already given to the 2021 Annual Catholic Appeal, please consider making your contribution today. Reel to Reel and the Chalice of Salvation weekly televised Mass are both supported in part by donations to the appeal. To help fund these programs, as well as the more than 40 ministries and services supported by the ACA, you can make your donation through our secure site at diospringfield.org. And if you need help placing your gift, call the Annual Catholic Appeal Office at 413-452-0670, and Kathy Harrington will help you out. Be sure to follow the latest news of the Catholic Church both here in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world on our news and information site, iobserve.org, and also on Facebook at Catholic Communications. I will see you right back here next week at the same time for Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. See you then.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the Annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.